Hey guys, so for this video I decided to talk a little bit about Jonghyun. I obviously want to talk about a few things in this video, so it will be kind of all over the place, so I apologize for that, but I really wanted to make a video for him because personally Jonghyun was a big part of my childhood, and a big just part of how I got into K-pop. Well, if you are familiar with my channel, you know I love Girls' Generation and Dongbang. They're like my ultimates, but right behind Dongbang, just by a tiny bit, is SHINee, and SHINee was really the one of the few groups that I've followed since they basically debuted. I really vaguely remember, but I for sure know that like around the time that started getting into K-pop, one of the first music videos that I stumbled on was SHINee's Replay and SHINee's Amigo, and I was like instantly obsessed without knowing anything about any of the members or anything about K-pop, but I knew the name because obviously they had the name SHINee, so I always tried to look for songs, and obviously over time I got to know more about the group, and especially when YouTube was becoming a lot bigger, especially when it came to being more accessible, when it came to finding more K-pop music. So when I look back, especially at the music videos for like Replay, Amigo, Juliet and Ring Ding Dong, and even Lucifer and Hello, because those were, I was really young back then. I was like 13, 14 years old, or yeah, so around like those age, maybe even let me see, 8, actually 12 years old when I first started listening to SHINee. And when I got to know each member individually through variety shows, Jonghyun always stood out to me. And when it came to songs, I think I always thought that he has the best, one of the best voices I ever heard, not just in K-pop but in general, because not only was he like an amazing vocalist, but he had that rare talent of being able to transmit emotion with his voice, and not every singer can really do that. So every time I like was expecting or waiting for a SHINee comeback, like the thing I was looking forward to the most out of anything was just hearing like Jonghyun's lines. Like I really grew to absolutely love SHINee because of Jonghyun, obviously because all the other 4 members, but when it came to their music, his voice is just phenomenal. And I think that in my opinion, and I think it's probably a fact, but he probably, he inspired a huge load of just upcoming K-pop idols, because he was that amazing of a singer, and that's just his voice. Jonghyun was multi-talented. I think that you get those rare, it just comes, these types of just, I think in my opinion, artists really come very few times around a couple years. And even though he was in a boy group, Jonghyun had so much charisma and stage presence and even sex appeal, like without even trying. And I think every Shawo can really agree that he had something special, and he had that SHINee factor that just made SHINee what they were. Because everyone has a special color in that group, but Jonghyun was just outstanding. And and to add on, Jonghyun played a huge part in SHINee's songs, because he also wrote and produced a bunch of songs for them. And yeah, songs like View, Juliet, those were written by Jonghyun. And there's a bunch more. I can't, like, there's a huge list. And he has also written for other people as well. And they're huge, big hits. So Jonghyun was a huge influencer when it came to Korean music, and there's no one that can really replace him, in my opinion. And for me, SHINee will forever be 5. If they do continue to perform and release music, I will always just I will always think Jonghyun is there, because I still can't even, it doesn't click in my mind that Jonghyun is not with us anymore. So with that being said, I hope that this also brings a little bit more of a light of just finding help if you don't feel okay. I know a bunch of other people have really talked about this, but especially in Korea, a lot of these K-pop idols really go through a lot of criticism for the smallest things, and it adds up. And Jonghyun is not the first idol that has committed suicide, so something really needs to really be done with a lot of these idols, and I think in Korean society in general. But these K-pop companies need to hire some type of therapist or something to really check on idols' mental health, because if you were a long time fan of SHINee, it is apparent that at least for the most part, you know a bit of the members, aside from that built image that companies usually build. And the great thing about Jonghyun is that he wasn't one of those singers that ever appeared manufactured. I don't know how else to describe it, but he, in my opinion, he always seemed very genuine, especially because he obviously wrote those songs, so it's got to come out of somewhere. And even when you see him, whenever I saw him on concert videos, interviews, variety shows, some things like you can't really fake, in my opinion, because there's a lot of idols that completely just are different, like behind cameras. And I don't know, I always saw Jonghyun as one of the most genuine people in K-pop, so it's really sad to see him go, because it wasn't like a hidden thing that Jonghyun had some issues, and you can tell he was struggling from time to time. And I also really loved that he was really outspoken about certain things. Like he never really hid his opinions about, for example, gay rights in Korea and other stuff. He was outspoken about a lot of these things, so I just thought he was a really genuine person. I'm going to miss him so much. I'm glad that he was able to leave a legacy behind, and it's probably inspired millions of people around the world, not just performers in Korea, but he inspired me. He brought a lot of happenings to me. Like a lot of K-pop fans, I think that listening to Korean music and watching the, Korean variety shows, even K-dramas, really just take you to another world, in my opinion. I think it was like I always call it kind of like a happy place that I always had whenever I came home from school, or I was too stressed with school and all of that, because everyone goes through different struggles. So whenever I felt either sad or alone, I would obviously listen to SHINee's music, watch some of their shows. I can even remember when I was watching the Hello Baby show, and I had just gone to a new school and I didn't have like any friends, but when I came home, like I completely forgot all about that, and watching their Hello Baby took all of that, those like negative thoughts away, and I would listen to their albums like when I would go to sleep. SHINee is a very important group to me, so they have released so much music now. Whatever decision they decide to make, I'll completely support it if they want to continue as four, or if they don't. I hope that the members are also okay, and that just there's no stupidity in blaming Onyu for anything or anyone else in the group. I hope that people are kind enough and respectful enough to let them just deal with Jonghyun's loss, because SHINee as a group, it never felt like they disliked each other. I think for the most part they were friends, in my opinion, because you can really tell when certain groups really don't click, and SHINee never appeared to be just faking any sort of friendship for, obviously, for sales or for the fans. For the most part, I felt like they really got along. Obviously, if they fought before, that's a completely normal, but for the most part, SHINee was and still is one of the best K-pop groups of all time, and a big reason of that was because of Jonghyun. So I hope that companies really start to check on a lot of the K-pop idols, because you can tell, and especially it's become more apparent with a lot of just idols speaking out about how they're struggling through some things, and they get a lot of backlash for it. So hopefully, it sounds like so negative, but maybe we can, Jonghyun's loss can be turned into a positive thing, so people can really get some help, and I highly recommend listening to the songs he's written. He has great solo work, and he was an artist, and he really genuinely loved singing, making, and performing music. I just completely adore Jonghyun still. I'll remember her forever because I have a bunch of SHINee albums. It's going to I can't even, I'm still just in shock. Like, I cannot, because even yesterday I uploaded a video that I was expecting a SHINee comeback in the summer. That's how much I miss SHINee not being able to release music in Korea this year. And that was just one of the few things I wanted, because I've been losing my interest in K-pop this past year, and just hearing something like this just really upsets me. It's like in my mind, I was already like buying their future release as 5 members. But this also goes to show, I saw Shawl 360's video, and Alex and Angel's videos, because they're also big SHINee fans, and on Twitter as well. A lot of the K-pop YouTuber unboxing community in the US, a lot of them really, I think a majority of my friends are big SHINee fans, so this really affected all of us. And like they said, you really have to watch out with the way you really criticize certain K-pop idols, because in a way, I am a bit guilty of this, but I don't really go to the extent of just wanting to insult them. I try, for the most part, to give constructive criticism when it comes to their music releases, but especially now that K-pop has become more global, a lot of fandoms really take things personally, and they go to the extent of wishing some members to quit the group, to die, to kill themselves. And what's the point? I don't understand why people really go to the extent of doing that. I'm pretty sure that for the most part, that wasn't Jonghyun's case. Obviously, we would really not know what was going through his mind. I think it was just more of something he's been struggling with. Jonghyun also had like a difficult childhood, and he really is an inspiration, in my opinion. If you go, I would not really talk about kind of all the things that he had to go through to become a K-pop idol, but you can, if you are a SHINee fan and you want to know, really investigate about Jonghyun, because he was a true rags to riches story, but through hard work and perseverance. And I'm so sad that he's gone, but I think he'll still will be forever with us through it, and he is with his music. And yeah, hopefully we'll it's like I can't even put words together, because that's how upset I am because of this. But yeah, just don't leave too much hate on, just unnecessary hate for no reason, because it can really affect them. And I think a lot of idols have been really more outspoken about just hate comments and all of that. It gets to you at a certain point, when you have a bunch of people constantly criticizing you for doing just small mistakes. Because I'm pretty sure if we all had a camera 24/7 and it was viewed by the whole world, we would all get a lot of criticism. So I think a lot of them a lot of just K-pop idols need to be given a break, especially because it's just Korean society standards are completely ridiculous sometimes, and this just goes to show that he probably wanted to hide a lot of his pain because of just the Korean way of living. But anyways, guys, I hope that if anyone's going through any struggles, seek for some help. I think everyone really experiences maybe some type of depression at least once in their life. I know I've experienced it, but not to that extent. But sometimes you feel like you can't really win with anything, and you feel helpless. So if you're really struggling, seek for help. It's better to find other ways than just completely taking your own life away, when you can really lose some huge opportunities that you can experience. So seek for help if you need it, and don't be embarrassed by it. And yeah, hopefully next year is not so negative, and we'll have a brighter year, because this is not a good way to end it. And yeah, and for Jonghyun, we love you so much, and thank you for everything that you've done to me, for all of the happiness you gave me, and obviously as a Shawol, we love you so much. All right, bye guys.